Would you like to be a rock star? Here's the deal. You don't need any skills. You don't need to know how to play a musical instrument. You don't even need to be willing to get up on stage in front of people and do something. All you need is $70, PlayStation 2, and probably a whole bunch of time on your hands. Because there's this game you might have heard of called Guitar Hero that is going to, if not make you a rock star, at least make you feel a lot more like one. From The Verge and Vox Media, this is Version History, a show about the best and worst and strangest and most interesting products in the history of technology. I'm David Pierce, and today it's time to talk about what is almost certainly the most important guitar in video game history. Welcome back. It's Version History. It's Guitar Hero. Let's do this. Ash Parrish is here. Hi, Ash.
Hi.
All the way from Ohio.
Yes.
Came to do this with us.
I'm so excited.
Chris Grant, also here.
Hello.
Not from as far away, but that's okay.
It's all right.
We're making it work. So before we get into Guitar Hero, here's what I want to know is I want you both to describe your peak Guitar Hero era. How good were you? When was it? How do you feel about it now? Ash, you go first. Peak Ash.
Peak Ash. This was shortly after the first Guitar Hero came out. It was a big deal that I got the game at all.
You had the first one?
Yes.
Okay.
Because gaming was not a not allowed thing in my house for the most part. My consoles had to be bought by my dad, and my dad would give me money and he would send me to the mall here kid, go have fun or whatever. And that was a substitute for parenting me. And it was a big deal to get Guitar Hero because it was so expensive, and it was this big clunky piece of plastic, and my mother is very neat and very clean, and she doesn't first of all, she doesn't like the idea of a console, because back in those days of 2000
Sure, yeah.
Yeah, the console was on the floor hooked up to wires. It wasn't a thing where a console was connected to your TV at all times. You took it out, you played with it, you put it away. So the idea of having this console and then this other big piece of plastic on top of that was a non-starter. So the fact that I had it was a big deal. And then I just played it over and over and over again. And the cool thing about Guitar Hero for me is that I was a very nerdy child. So I grew up listening to jazz music.
Nice.
Yeah. I played saxophone when I was a kid, and my saxophone teacher, she told my mom to get me Dave Brubeck CDs and Stan Getz CDs, and that's what I listened to, and that's what I liked. Did not endear me at all to my peers. But
you get in the car, you're yo, guys, Dave Brubeck? And they're it's time to go.
And then I got to play Guitar Hero, and I got to get exposed to Incubus and even Jimi Hendrix. I was not a rock and roll household. So I heard Jimi Hendrix for the first time, Ozzy Osbourne for the first time, and I loved these songs, and that continues to today.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Do you have a song that you remember as the track you would shred on in the first one?
So it was Spanish Castle Magic, which was the Jimi Hendrix experience, and then Bark at the Moon.
Nice.
Yes, I would just do it over and
cool
over
music.
and over again.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Chris, what about you?
I don't know when I was best at it because I can't remember that far back.
It was 20 years ago.
I know. 2 decades. I'll say this. We loaded up Guitar Hero 1 here on my PlayStation with my 8 megabyte memory card, and it had a save file on it, which I had, in my wisdom, at the age of 25, titled God as the username. So I don't remember doing this. I did unlock all the tracks on that profile, though, so I'm going to go ahead and say that that's probably when I was best, based on the arrogance of
I did enjoy
name.
the thing. We got to the end of one of the rounds, and it pops up the newspaper showing the headline of how you did, and it was solid set from God.
Hell yeah. At no point do I ever feel like I excelled at it. And I think that the secret of Guitar Hero, for me, I didn't play an instrument at all. I don't feel like a musical person, but I could play Guitar Hero well enough that I felt competent in my living room alone or with my partner. I would go to press events and see people playing Guitar Hero, other press members, and just shredding on an expert level and being well, that's not for me. I still felt good doing it at home. So I think that's one of the magic, part of the magic of the game. But I would say I'm consistently a C player.
Okay, that's about where I landed too. And my memory of it is my friend group went straight from all playing N64 Mario games, which I was good at, to playing Guitar Hero, to playing Halo, which I was trash at. And I would lose 50 to -3 in Halo because I would run off the side and die a few times, and that wasn't fun at all. Guitar Hero, I was the worst at all of my friends, but was still fun to play, which was a magical thing about Guitar Hero is that it's accommodated being lots of different ways at the game. But then I had a bunch of friends who were like actual musicians and guitar players who got really good at it and really annoying about it. You know who you are if you're watching this.
My musician friends hated it because they're like,
Really?
oh, this is wrong. Like, this doesn't, like, if you know how guitar feels, you're playing it, you're like,
Yeah, all those people who were like, this doesn't feel enough like a real guitar.
Didn't matter.
Hey,
Please.
very cool.
Congratulations to you on all of your accomplishments.
And your big muscles.
Exactly.
Whatever.
So let me just, I have a lot of notes here on like the story of Guitar Hero a bit. So we're talking about the very first Guitar Hero. And I'm going to walk through the history as I have come to understand it. You both know a lot about this too. So together we're gonna try to explain where Guitar Hero come from. Does that sound good?
Sounds good.
Okay. So the story starts in 2004, which is actually substantially later than I would have guessed, which is sort of fascinating. And there's two companies, Harmonix and Red Octane. We should probably talk about Harmonix first. And I'm curious for you in particular. You had been like sort of in the gaming world professionally around this time. Were you aware of Harmonix like in the early aughts?
Harmonix had the company existed before this, and they had some flops, to say the least. But they did strike some magic with their earlier PlayStation 2 games, Frequency and Amplitude. I think in that order. Both great games, critically acclaimed.
Oh, actually, while we're talking about Frequency, let me just play you this clip we have of Frequency.
The gameplay in Frequency is like Tempest meets Dance Revolution, where you're actually traveling down
I
a
love that
tunnel
description.
of music.
That's actually great.
And you choose a particular track to play, which is a particular instrument, like drum, bass,
It
voice.
looks a lot like Guitar Hero.
Like Guitar Hero in a octagon. Okay, so you got the two games right, but you missed one thing that Harmonix did that I would very much like to tell you about, which is called the Axe. And I have this clip that I want to play for you in which Harmonix describes what the Axe is. This is the first thing they ever made as a company.
Harmonix is an interactive music software company created by two guys from MIT's Media Lab, and they've spent the past 5 years developing this technology, which is going to be the hottest thing to hit the music world in the last decade, and it's called the Axe.
You pick your song, you pick your instrument, and you pick your interactive music video, which graphically shows you what you're playing. You hit the play button, and you're off. You're making music.
God, I just love the way the 90s look.
You control the sounds and
All of
playing
it.
style of the instrument with either a joystick or mouse.
I really love the Axe. It was like with no practice, I could pick up a guitar and play along with James Brown.
First of all, there's just no way that's true.
The flight stick also is great.
That's my favorite part of that whole clip. He's like describing how it works, and it's this insane looking like on-screen control center, and then he just picks up a joystick and is like, and now I'm ready to play guitar.
Yeah, for folks that are listening, this is a 1990s style like Sidewinder flight stick. Just some real 90s PC energy.
It's very good. But there were like that's a bunch of the ideas that ended up being Guitar Hero, right? Like it's a physical object. You get to have a thing that, you know, moves around. You get to sort of control the instrument lots of different ways. Like, and then Frequency and Amplitude were basically similar games. So this is also like right around the time, if I'm doing my history correctly, that DDR was like taking over the world. Were you guys DDR people?
Yes.
This
Not
actually
great.
makes perfect sense to me. I was like, I knew for sure you were going to say yes to this. Were you good at DDR?
No.
Were you committed anyway?
Yes.
Okay.
Because, so, you know, I'm a girl. And boys, like this is, you know, back in 2005, 2006, you know, that kind of like era of video game girls versus boys kind of culture. And the boys had like the shooter games that they would be really good at. And they would play like Doom on Ultra Nightmare and stuff like that. And I wanted a game that I could be good at, that I could like, they would look to me like the same kind of prowess as we look at people that can do like those shooters games really well. And like rhythm games were that for me. But DDR is way too intensive for the cardio even back then. So
Real.
I focused on making Guitar Hero my thing to varying levels of just success.
I'm a spaghetti man. You can't see it. You're listening right now, but
He's made of noodles, everybody.
I'm a very tall man, and I have very it's called inconsistent control of where different parts of my body are going. So DDR was particularly challenging for me. My feet are very far away from my head, and
So the brain signals just don't get there
they
quickly
take like
enough.
a minute or two to get all the way down there, and so I'm not going to show you what that looks like, but you can imagine it in your head. It's not great. Similar to Ash, Guitar Hero for me was some chance to sort of like see and enjoy that style of physicality from rhythm games, but in a way that my hands were closer to my brain, and it only took a little bit of time to get there.
That's fair.
It feels good when a game engages your entire body. Games don't really do that so much anymore, and that's why when you get games that do like take full faculties, like you have to like write notes or you get into it like physically, it feels good. And that's why Guitar Hero feels good to play, even though you get like really bad claw hand at the end of it.
Yeah, Guitar Hero I think ended up being like right down the middle of that. Like it's very physical and not too much work. But the reason I bring up DDR is because it came out in 1998 and it was mostly in like an arcade thing in Japan. And it was this giant monster hit. And Red Octane first sort of made its money by making somewhere between like legit and bootleg DDR pads for people who just wanted to play the game at home.
Fun fact, they actually first made their money as a video game rental service.
That's right. Did they make any money though?
Well, hold on. Well, okay.
they had one.
They made something. This is before the .com bust. They busted on that, and Idea was good. I mean, Idea came back later with other services, GameFly, but they pivoted to physical pads.
Yeah, and so they were making these pads and selling them to people who had a PlayStation version of the game, because you could get the game, but you couldn't get like the thing to dance on, which is sort of important in DDR. And basically what happens is Red Octane is like, okay, we want to do all this rhythm game stuff in the US. We want to make a like peripheral. We probably need to make a game. They don't know how to make a game. So they call Harmonix, which, like you said, has made these two games, Frequency and Amplitude, that were rhythm style games this way, but they were like kind of wonky. They were like accomplished games, but people didn't like them that much. People who played them liked them. They won awards, but they didn't do very well.
It did not, the description of the game and seeing any footage of the game was not appealing to, like, based on the sales numbers, anybody.
Right.
So
this is a thing I've heard
changed.
about rhythm games over and over from people, is that like one of the great challenges of these games was once you play it, you get it and it's really fun, but the description of it sounds awful. And even to watch like a video of what the game looks like on a screen is bad. You're like, it's just dots running at me. Why would I want to play that?
It's not physical. And for folks who are familiar with what Guitar Hero looks like, Frequency and Amplitude look exactly like that. They look almost
really
identical, but you're playing it with a PlayStation controller.
Yeah.
Just with your hands. And so it doesn't have any of that same sort of visual appeal.
Yeah. The Harmonix folks did make one other game that I should just show you very quickly, because a thing that I have discovered is that this game Karaoke Revolution also turned out to be very important in what would become Guitar Hero. So here's what Karaoke Revolution was.
The first and only karaoke video game for your PlayStation 2. Sing along to over 35 hit songs made famous by Avril Lavigne, Nickelback, R.E.M., Bare Naked Ladies, and more. And as you rock the crowd, the game scores your performance. It's the ultimate party game for parties of 1 or 100. Ready to eat for
I miss commercials like that.
Right?
Yeah.
But there's a bunch of things happening in that video, right? There's a game that you have to do something with other than press buttons on a controller. Yep. You get active feedback from the crowd. It gives you sort of improve and fail as you go. Yep. There is a thing that looks like a stage that you're on as you're performing. Like, add a guitar and Karaoke Revolution just is Guitar Hero. And the realization they all take out of this is like, oh, people want to be rock stars. Like, that's the thing. Put me in, coach, is like the vibe everybody has here. They want to be part of it. And I think in the way that like dancing very quickly and well is really hard, more people can stand in front of their TV and sing passably. And so that was like fun, and people were into that. So these two companies, one that like knows how to make rhythm games but can't figure out how to sell them to anybody, and one company that knows how to make really cool peripherals but doesn't really know how to make games. It's like kind of a perfect match. So they find each other, and they pretty quickly, as I understand it, decide they're going to make a game together. And Red Octane, from what I understand, was super, super into Guitar Freaks, which was big in Japan. They had been thinking about wanting to bring it to the US. So these two companies make a deal in early 2005 to make a game, and they decide they want to ship it by the holiday season of 2005, which y'all both know a lot more about game development than I do, but that strikes me as insanity.
It's unusual. Yeah, unusual.
To say the least.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, to the point where it's like, and they decided pretty quickly they wanted to make a controller. They loved Guitar Freaks, so they wanted to do something like that. The Guitar Hero controller, spoiler alert, looks an awful lot like the Guitar Freaks controller. They wanted to make it a little more complicated. They wanted to make it so that you could actually feel like you're playing a guitar and it's hard and it's work. So they added more buttons. They made it a little more complex, but this was just the thing that they wanted to do. And yeah, like you said, they they took on this truly bonkers task of trying to do it in 9 months. Their other option I found out, by the way, I don't know anything about this except that one of the developers said that their other option, other than Guitar Hero, was to make a DuckTales game. I have no more information, but I would desperately love to know what that game was.
The Red Octane version of...
Yeah, right?
The peripheral would have been Uncle Scrooge's cane, and you would have pogoed on it. Yeah, hell yeah.
Okay,
and then the track would have been the theme from the moon.
It's trademarked, by the way, Chris Grant 2025, so nobody touched that.
We're bringing back DuckTales, everybody.
I'm mailing that to myself right now.
Heard it here first.
Can't touch it. I think what's crazy about that timeline, too, and I'm sure we'll get to this in your notes, but they made an E3 demo. It wasn't just that they got the game ready and packaged up for holidays. They had it ready for people to play just a few months after that.
So I can do even better. They had a prototype of the game that they were playing in their office in like a couple of weeks. And it's because all this stuff is so tied together, right? There actually is frequency technology in Guitar Hero, and there's amplitude technology in Guitar Hero. And Harmonix had made all of these deals where it would make the games for other companies, but it would keep the sort of core technology for itself. And so it just poured all of that into this game. And it basically, the way they all described it is like without those deals that it had made, not thinking about Guitar Hero, none of this would have been possible. They couldn't have done it this fast. They couldn't have done it this way. But it was just all this, they had all this stuff sitting there and they were just able to like recompile it and have a game working really quickly.
See how like development works?
Yeah.
You let companies just like do shit that they're good at. See how that works? Mm-hmm. And they knock this out. And I would hate to see like that crunch condition was probably awful. But just the idea, like it's almost verboten now to hear about like, you know, a company taking stuff that they've done from other places and pouring it into this game. And they can make this different version of those same ideas so quickly and have it do so well. That doesn't happen in modern video game development anymore unless like you're a very big like indie studio or something like that. It just doesn't happen.
It's not just the soundtrack and the haircuts that make this feel 20 years old, but maybe some of that deal structure also making it feel 20 years old.
And then the thing that, well, okay, I won't say that. Not yet. That's for another time.
Yeah, I'm not sure Guitar Hero gets done quite the same way in 2025 as it did in 2005. But so anyway, so they get this done really fast. The other thing it seems like this company had going for it was that it was like a company full of musicians. A thing I didn't know about Guitar Hero until I started researching for this episode is that a lot of the songs in the first Guitar Hero are from Harmonix employees and who are like legit bands.
Yep.
I had no idea.
I remember their head of marketing publicity, John Drake, what up, played a show in Philly at some point. I went to go see him because he straight up was like a musician in a band playing shows. And I think that was true all the way down to the folks on the marketing side of the house.
Yeah, apparently like 2/3 of the employees there were in some band or another, and a bunch of the songs in there are from them. Most of the songs are just like songs that they liked. They ended up, instead of getting the actual versions of a lot of the songs, paying this band to do covers, which was much cheaper for very unnecessary to go into licensing reasons. But they were able to get this list of songs that everybody knew, but that they definitely couldn't afford. What was funny is I went back and was doing a bunch of research on this, and a surprising number of people on that team have no memory of the first songs in Guitar Hero.
Really?
Everybody agreed that like Walk This Way by Aerosmith and Back in Black by AC/DC were like iconic ones. But then they would be like, oh yeah, what were your favorite songs from the first Guitar Hero? Or like, what were the first ones you guys decided on? And they were like, I don't know. And there would be people who like disagreed on which song was the first one to show up. But everybody said Back in Black was like the first like iconic Guitar Hero song.
I don't even remember that song. I have no... I just completely skipped over that to go to Ozzy Osbourne.
It wasn't hard enough for you. So I get it. So then they get through all this. They're cranking like crazy towards fall of 2005. And E3, like you were saying, Chris, was like the coming out party for this game. Were you at E3 in 2005?
2005, I was not at E3. I have a lot of memories of the 2006 E3 showing for Guitar Hero, but 2005 E3 was like a big deal E3. It was maybe one of the last like really major E3s. I mean, you can make a case ever. And one of the stories that to this day, you ask any games journalist about 2005 E3, the thing that will come to their mind first before any of that is Ken Chahal in the basement with the weird carpet and the smell and Guitar Hero. Ken Chahal is the place where you put the international pavilions, your German game developers pavilion. There was a bar down there, which just gives you some of that energy of that place. The weirdo controllers, there's some that, like, you know, the weird 3D mouse controller stuff, like all this junk stuff all went to the basement, the security networking software for the games industry in the basement.
Sure.
And Red Octane with Guitar Hero. And it became, in everything you read about it, people played it and would go tell everyone else to come play it, and then people would come and watch people play it.
Yeah, so as I understand it, that was when that game became sort of real.
That was the moment.
Yeah, and it was like, because like we were saying with all these rhythm games, the thing is, you like describe to somebody, oh, you stand and play guitar in front of your television and it does the buttons for you. It's like, it doesn't sound good. And they were apparently actually having trouble explaining to like possible buyers and distributors and whoever how this game actually worked and why it was fun, because there was nothing like it. But then, like you're saying, at E3, it starts to percolate, and it's like the thing everybody's talking about, and it's the moment. And so all the Harmonix folks and the Red Octane folks have long said that was the moment that they were like, oh my God, we have something. Like, we don't know what, but it's something, and we have it. And there was one other moment, and it involves, I assume, your sworn enemy of games journalism, IGN.
I mean,
We're all friends here.
they're butts.
I'm just kidding. One other thing that they've said is IGN made a video that year playing the game, and it was one of the first like public demos from a big name game publication showing the game, and they loved it. And they had apparently they like sent them a Guitar Hero set unprompted, and then like begged them to play it over and over and over again, which is an experience I suspect we've all had, where somebody's like, please try my thing, you'll love it. And you're like, I have other things to do and I've never heard of you, and what is this? And they're like, please, I beg you.
I have to imagine at the time too, IGN along with GameSpot were the only two kind of huge major sites. There was UGO and there were some other ones at the same time, but like IGN and GameSpot at the time were massive. And I think getting that coverage and that attention there in a pre-social media era was it.
Yeah.
Like you're not going to get it. Maybe a magazine later on a slower publishing timeline.
Totally. So let me just play you a little bit of IGN's video in which they have an extremely
How much psychic
good time.
damage is this going to do to me as a video games journalist?
Well, we're going to find out.
Look, Tal.
Wow.
There's IGN's Tal Blevins shredding in a white cloak, a cape? Called a cape, I guess. Let's see how they're doing.
There are two people, and one of them doesn't appear to be playing at all.
They're busy shredding. Wow, it's very 2005.
Yeah.
And they're having a great time. It's the jam. But so that video, that extremely 2005 video, a bunch of people who made Guitar Hero are like, that's the time we went from something a few people had heard of to like a game people were excited about. This was before the game was available. They got an early demo of it. It was live. It was public. They were super excited about it. And they were like, all of a sudden, that drops and everything changes. And they're like, people start taking your phone calls. People start caring. People start like actually wanting this game in their lives, which is nuts because that video is deeply hilarious.
You gotta channel it through your 2005 energy brain.
I love it.
Yeah.
I have no notes. We should wear more capes. We should all be wearing capes right
We
now
should.
as we do this.
I agree.
Honestly.
Like, unironically.
Hey guys, let's do some capes in post. All right, thank you. Thanks.
Yeah, this is why we green screen everything. It's totally fine. One other thing that I found was that one of Red Octane's biggest worries with this game, and one of the things that they were struggling with at the very beginning, was that the game was humongous. Like I have the controller here behind me. It's a big guitar.
Well, the good news is retailers love huge boxes and they love making shelf space.
So this is what seems they were like genuinely worried about it. It was expensive. It was $70 for the whole kit, which now sounds just adorable.
It was a big deal that I was able to get this.
Yeah.
And my dad, who had like the super high-powered 6-figure job, he was the one who bought it for me because he was the only one who could afford something. A $70 video game? Are you high?
Yeah, back then that was nuts.
You got the game and the controller for $70. You got the game and the controller.
That's what I'm
Just
saying.
thinking about that now
know.
in 2025 brain is just like mind blowing.
That's a
controller
dozen.
alone
So
would be
good.
$200.
That's
Yeah.
a dozen eggs today.
But this was their big worry, and they had trouble getting people to buy it because they're like, well, we can either stock your game, which no one's ever heard of and maybe nobody wants, or we can put like 20 discs of other things on the shelf. And they ended up just getting Best Buy. And in particular, like one buyer at Best Buy was super into it. They said yes. They set up demo stations in the stores. And this was the thing that they were like, we're going to get people to try it and buy it, and they're going to love it. And spoiler alert, they did. But before we get into that, we should take a really quick break. And then we're going to talk about what happened when it launched and then what happened afterwards. We'll be right back. Okay, we're back. So you guys would remember this more than I would. I was way too cool to play video games in 2005. But
what were you doing in 2005?
What was I doing in 2005?
Let's get into it.
I was the 4th best player on my JV volleyball team right about when this launched.
Watch out.
So that was cool.
Yeah, no time for
people
video
really
games.
liked that. I was also very into American Idol at the time. This was like peak David American Idol season. Yep. It was great. It was as good as it got.
How were your outfits? Good?
That might have been right after the double popped polo phase.
Okay.
But it wasn't.
You
it
were
wasn't.
that
I
kid.
was right there.
Okay, good.
But it wasn't. This was well after Pukas.
Okay.
But not far enough.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I was doing great. Is what I'm saying.
I'm just trying to get a mental picture for the listeners at home. Trying to, put us into place.
You would have
that's
missed like the big Jinko pants because you weren't in high school at this time.
No,
you were
some of the skate kids had that in the 90s, but I was 2005 for me was a pair of Carhartts and a white T-shirt. That was it. That was the uniform.
That's the dream.
And that would work today.
I was going to say, it turns out you had it going. So this game drops Christmas season 2005. And at least from what I can tell looking back, it was pretty much a giant hit right away. Do you guys remember when it came out? Like you got it pretty quickly, it seems like.
I think I got mine. I had to have gotten it after my PlayStation 2 because that's what I played it on. And I didn't get that at launch. It probably was around like 2007.
Okay.
Because I got a PlayStation 2 specifically for Kingdom Hearts. And I think that was 2006.
Nice.
So I don't think I got Guitar Hero until like 2007.
I love this as a way to remember the years of your life. I'm like, I got game launches, and that's
what I do.
Yeah.
Everything for me is like, oh, that was the year that Doom came out. So where was I? Okay, no, I got it. That's right. Okay.
I can tell you the story about Kingdom Hearts 2 because I was in college and I remember going down to the college games.
Hold on. Hard mode, can you tell us the story in Kingdom Hearts 2?
Yes.
Because that's good. We don't have time for that in this podcast.
I can tell you the story for.
Sicko mode. Let's do it. Listen, for a bonus episode, Ash is going to spend 4 hours explaining Kingdom Hearts 2 to you.
Just 2, not all of them. Just Kingdom
2.
Hearts 2.
I was the nerd that was like watching that IGN video and like getting that pre-order in early and like picking it up. That was what I before I was doing it full time for a living. That was those were my friends. Just my PlayStation. I'm just kidding.
I love this for you.
They were my friends.
Yeah.
So the story is that the Harmonix and Red Octane had made 100,000 of these, and this thing immediately becomes like a phenomenon. Everybody wants it. They can't sell them fast enough. Everybody wants 10 times as many as they have. It ended up being the second best-selling game of that holiday season, which for a game that never existed before and was that expensive at the time, just strikes me as nuts.
What was the first?
This was my trivia question. What do you think the number one game of the holiday season of 2005 was?
Halo 2.
She's going to Halo 2. I'm going to say this is like a video game version of Price is Right rules. I'm just going to say Madden.
It was Madden.
Yeah.
Madden's kind of a boring answer.
I know, but that's why it's like why you bet $1. It's like a boring answer, but you get it right a lot of times.
That's true. Madden, which I assume in 2005 was the exact same game that it is in 2025.
I haven't changed it yet.
No, that's just what we're doing here. But so this game comes out. People really love it. I have a montage here of some of the reviews that I would like you to see because they are a delight.
Have you ever secretly dreamed of being a rock star, wailing on your electric guitar to the sold-out crowd?
What's the game you've spent the most time playing this year?
Guitar Hero, with one
John
of the
Davis
strongest
in there.
controllers ever to grace the market. A
Still at
2.5
IGN.
foot long plastic guitar. Guitar Hero stands out as one of the top PS2 games released in the past year.
It's really addictive, really exciting, and I
There's
recommend
Jeff Gerstmann at GameSpot.
While Guitar Hero won't make you play a
Does
real
X
guitar
play?
like a rock star, it certainly makes you feel like one. For a 5 out of 5.
Just flexing by calling out people by name.
Well, I'm just setting for the old heads in the house who were watching all that same stuff when they were kids.
See Gertzman, you almost have to like salute.
So it was like people loved it. Yeah. It was like overwhelmingly the thing where once people try it, They love it. Continued to be a thing.
Just like the other Harmonix games, critical hit.
Yeah.
But now also commercial hit.
Right.
You know, some of that magic coming together.
And it does seem like the biggest difference between a lot of that was just the guitar. And I think one of the things I thought was really interesting about the way that they made this controller was that they wanted to have a guitar that actually felt like playing guitar, which is like it did and it didn't work. You know what I mean? Like we were all just playing earlier and like I play that a lot better than I play guitar, and I don't play that very well. But they based this thing on a Gibson SG, which means nothing to me, but
sure, guitar stuff
certainly will mean some things to other people. And the thing that they took from Guitar Freaks was the idea of like sort of the rough shape of the thing, but then they made it a lot more complicated. It has 5 buttons, so you can play, I think it's 3 different power chords that actually feel like you're playing the power chords, which is basically all you need to be a rock star. They had the whammy bar, which, fun fact, I learned they added before they had any idea what it was going to be for. They were just like, this thing should have a whammy bar. And they're like, why? And they're like, I don't know. It's going to have a whammy bar.
Let's take that energy into everything we do in life.
Yeah, right? Like, where can we add a whammy bar?
We're going to find a use for it.
Yeah, that's a good, like, newsroom question. Where's the whammy bar? And then they also, a thing I learned was in the name of making this feel like you were playing guitar, they had a freestyle mode for this where you could just play guitar in the game and actually like make stuff creatively. Ended up not making it into the game, but it's like a very Harmonix thing to do. Where like all the way back to the axe, they're like people just want to play. But
I'll just say I wish they did that, because one of the challenges or frustrations of Guitar Hero is when you're playing, especially if you're playing 2-player, you have friends over, etc. Like failing out is like a bummer when you're just trying to drink and play video games. And I think later they did add some of those modes back into future iterations of this game. But yeah, it's interesting to hear that they did it. But you know, it's too bad they didn't get to it. They had 9 whole months. Not quite sure why they didn't get to it, but
I know,
whatever.
Seriously, it's plenty of time.
I mean, the entire ethos, I guess, behind this game is that they wanted non-musicians to feel like a musician. Mm-hmm. And you can get about as close as you can get without actually being a musician with like Guitar Hero. Like I play the saxophone, but I'm not like a guitar person, but it feels very good, even though it's not like, you know, as you were saying earlier, it's not exactly a 1-for-1 replication of actually playing a guitar. It's just close enough that I don't care. And it feels good. It's like it's a very tactile thing.
I'm going to go ahead and say, as a non-guitar player, feels a lot better than playing the guitar.
It also is like, it's hard in a way that I think is really good and productive and instructive in a lot of these games, right? Like, I think one of the things that you encounter with a lot of these games is you sort of max out at how actually complicated the mechanic is. And then you have to invent new ways. You're like, okay, I'm going to do it at weird speeds, or I'm going to do it with my eyes closed, or whatever. This game is like, the runway for how much better you could get at it was super, super long.
Well, interestingly, another thing launched in 2005, which has a very close alignment to Guitar Hero's success, which is YouTube. And people being able to record themselves and put up these crazy high scores, these crazy stunt videos. You know, as a video game blogger in 2005, 6, etc., like crazy Guitar Hero videos was a staple of the genre, staple of the form. Like just somebody doing something sick, you know, in the same way you'd post a video of somebody getting a high score on Geometry Wars. It was just novel seeing human beings do things that are hard. And a lot of video games are, and you see this later in like esports and stuff, it's hard to communicate excellence in a video game. It's hard to communicate excellence in League of Legends. Like, what are they doing? That went down that lane? I'm sure. Okay. It's like why a layperson doesn't watch competitive chess and have a good time. It's hard. You can watch Guitar Hero and just be like, shit, that's good. That's
like,
really
it's
hard.
going very fast and they're hitting all the buttons.
Yeah, all the buttons on time. So the physicality of it, in the same way a slam dunk looks impressive, I cannot do that. He jumped good. And like seeing somebody play Guitar Hero good is just impressive to watch as a human. And I think a lot about that sense of like, the game itself encourages you, the player, to improve. And you know when you have. It's like very clear when you've improved enough. And not all games do that. A lot of games you improve when your character levels up, and that is how you get better because you've played long enough. But there's a real meaningful, tangible reward to playing more Guitar Hero.
And the interesting and the very cool thing about that is that you can look at those videos of these like high level players, and you're impressed. But you can also, there's a very clear way that you yourself can do that. that was when I was like playing Guitar Hero and I was trying to make it my thing. You know, I would graduate, like I can't do like the pinky with the orange button, and like part of like my training, like that I developed this training course for me was like learning how to like slide my hand up and down. You can't see me, I'm like sliding my hand up and down the fret.
You also can't see she's got like a Rocky style montage outfit on.
She's actually playing guitar right now. I don't know how that's even possible.
To slide, you know, your pinky finger, your hand down so your pinky can get at that button. And when I was able to do that like reliably, like you feel like God, like, oh, okay. There's a gulf between, you know, looking at someone play Halo at a very high level and think, I could do that, and it's not the same. And I could look at that of Guitar Hero and I was like, oh, I can actually do that. And that was like part of why Guitar Hero was so big for me personally, and like why it is so fun even all these years later just to watch.
Presumably also why I named my profile on that memory card God.
Because it made you feel like God.
You feel like God.
Yeah, I got real good at it.
So they made this first game in 9 months, and then all of a sudden, the next year in 2006, everything goes insane. And Chris, I want you to explain this to me because I spent a lot of time researching so Harmonix sells to Viacom in 2006. Red Octane sells to Activision, also in 2006. And this whole thing just sets off like a house on fire.
This is in some ways like early Activision deal making. Activision, you know, is a relatively, I'll say small, but more humble publisher than the one that you think of today. In that earlier period, they had a bunch of hits. They had Tony Hawk on PlayStation, et cetera, but they published Guitar Hero along with Red Octane and had like this licensing arrangement, but they bought Red Octane. So they bought the peripheral. They bought the hardware company, and they bought the brand name Guitar Hero. Like we mentioned before, Harmonix owns the software. They own the game. And so Harmonix gets purchased by Viacom, or more specifically, a new imprint called MTV Games.
Shout out to Steven Totillo.
And this is, I remember there was an ethical question over whether Steven, for example, at MTV News, like, how do you cover the game? It's MTV. And he's like, it's different. It's like not the same. It's a big company. But the alignment there was kind of wild. And the timeline that we're talking about, again, 2005, Guitar Hero 1 comes out. Boom. 2006, Guitar Hero 2 comes out. It comes out for PlayStation 2 and Xbox 360. And then 2007, Rock Band and Guitar Hero 3 come out. And so by 2007...
the pace of that is just
wild.
Bonkers. Like both of these companies sell, and like I'm used to a lot of acquisitions where like a company sort of disappears and languishes and everything falls apart. But it seems like basically both of these companies showed up to work at their new giant corporate parents and they were like, you have a new game due in 12 minutes.
So you have the originators of the gameplay, Harmonix, making Rock Band, critical hit. That was the one that I think, you know, the nerds really appreciated. It brought everything together. But then you had Guitar Hero, which had the brand name. It had, at this point, the marketing muscle behind it. And it went on to be a massive sales hit. And I think that was the first retail game in history to crack 1B. That's what we call in the biz, $1 billion.
That's what we call it in the biz,
big B. And so you had these like two competitors, one, you know, that still had the brand name and still had the sort of retail weight, and then you had the critical darling, and it set up a really great competitive set.
I refused on principle to play Rock Band because I had like Guitar Hero loyalty and Rock Band was like the knockoff. And now knowing what I know, it's actually the exact opposite.
Yeah.
The soul of Guitar Hero lived on in Rock Band.
I had no brand loyalty at that point. That was purely a commercial decision. Like, oh, you want me to spend however much money to buy like this entire kit? Absolutely not. Yeah. We're just going to stick with our PlayStation 2 and our 3 Rock Band games.
I was a snob. I went to, in 2007, I mentioned E3 changed. 2006 was the last like E3 of that kind. In 2007, they downsized. They went to this smaller media-only event in Santa Monica where you went from like hotel to hotel. That was the year. It was terrible. And Rock Band debuted at a like invite-only hotel event. And I remember just being so excited to go in, and we went in. I still remember to this day, Nick Chester, who at the time was editor at Destructoid, another publication, later went on to work with Harmonix. Now he's at Annapurna, I think. Nick, where are you? Annapurna? He crushed at it. He was really, like, he's good. And for years, when like, there was a lot of Rock Band events, you'd go and see Nick at them, and he'd shred, and you're like, okay,
that's such a weird party trick.
I know.
I love that.
It's a great party trick.
It
is so specific. Like, you know, what is the worst superpower that you can have? Like, that is a fantastic party trick. Like, it really is.
He was like a Rock Band influencer. Like, he knew how to play the game. He was good at it. But I remember just like seeing that performance, walking into that room. I remember exactly what it looked like. I walked into the dimly lit.
Is this the basement?
Living room. No, this is the suite. It's a fancy suite at a hotel in Santa Monica, and they had the drum set up and they had a TV in front of them, and there's just like 20 people just watching these journos play Rock Band, and it was like one of these really indelible memories for me of like a big shift, right? The competitive audacity to launch Rock Band against Guitar Hero 3 from the original developers with a full set with singing karaoke revolution style. They had all the pieces. And they
quite literal
together.
mic drop.
Yep. And they had another fun thing about Rock Band is they had the masters. It wasn't just covers. They had this MTV relationship and they were able to leverage that. And so, Guitar Hero 3 outsold it because it was cheaper and it was the brand name, but there was this new really intense and very well-earned competitive landscape that just didn't exist before. And it made that launch 2007, everything that came after that, just like really exciting. It was its own little console war, if you will.
Yeah, it just continues to be wild to me how quickly all of that happened. And then they start making like several of them a year. These things just started coming out in like crazy, absurd, rapid succession. And to your point about the masters, one of the things I thought was really interesting was that these games wound up being sort of crushed by their own success in a way. Because like at the very beginning, either nobody cared about Guitar Hero and didn't want their stuff because they just didn't want to like negotiate the deal for the song, or they were able to get it pretty cheap because artists were like, well, whatever, who is this game? We'll take some money. Sure.
The amount of money you made off of video game licensing before that was nothing. So
right, exactly. But then as it gets bigger, all of a sudden getting in a Guitar Hero game becomes a huge win for you as an artist, in the same way that it's like the modern equivalent is probably like the Fleetwood Mac song blowing up on TikTok, right? And it's like all of a sudden these songs from 10, 20, 30, 40 years ago are zooming up the charts because of this one very specific property. And for a long time it was Guitar Hero. That was like, if you were there, like you and your cool jazz music, right? Like people were picking up Guitar Hero and being exposed to completely new kinds of music that they then like cared about for a long time. So then all of a sudden it's like, okay, well, A, we want to be on this game very badly, but B, we would like a piece, right? Especially as Guitar Hero 3 comes out and sells $1 billion and becomes huge. They're like, well, a huge part of the appeal of this is our songs. This doesn't work without the music that everybody likes, which I think is an interesting, like, it would have been interesting to see them go all the way down the road of this is music no one knows. Would the game still have worked? I don't know. But then it like becomes a problem because they have to spend all of this money on their songs, eventually like the image and likeness of the people that they wanted to have. And so the bigger the game gets, the more expensive the game gets. And it starts to sort of collapse on itself in a certain way, especially as the game starts to get a little less popular, which happened really fast. Like the whole Guitar Hero era was like 5 years, which is bonkers to me. They split into two companies. They made 1,000 more games.
And ran it into the ground.
5 years.
Five
years. Like by 2010, they've both Guitar Hero, let's see, the number I have is by the end of 2010, Guitar Hero had sold $2.47 billion worth of games, and Rock Band was $1.2 billion. This is by 2010. Meanwhile, at this point, Call of Duty is doing $1 billion a year, so do with that what you will. But these games are like huge, and then it just fell off a cliff because everybody who wanted Guitar Hero, I guess, had it. It was very funny playing the first one again today because I'm like, oh, this game still rips. Like, I don't play this one and I'm like, you know what I want now is Guitar Hero 2. It's just like, it's like, oh no, I have Guitar Hero now. Like, I'm good.
It reminds me of the Wii and Wii Fit to some degree. Guitar Hero was very, very popular with people who are not video game players. My partner, to this day, I live in a house, anyone that's seen me on a meet call, I live in a house with a home office full of video games and video game junk. My partner plays one game. One fan, it's Guitar Hero. Guitar Hero or / Rock Band. That's it. And I would break it out. We broke it out recently, a few months ago, and prepped for this. And my son has friends over and they play Beatles Rock Band and they have a great time. Like, it's just universally appealing. You can put it in front of anyone and they enjoy it.
And they get it.
And they get it. They get it right away. And the game was a big hit with people that weren't gamers, but it also means it's easy to put down. This is not the thing you keep coming back to. It's big. It's in your living room. They used to sell furniture to keep your Rock Band kit in, an ottoman that flipped up that you could store all your stuff in. Oh, wow. Everything was so big. Folks in the chat, hit me up with that link to that piece of furniture.
That's got to be on Facebook Marketplace somewhere.
Sure. Well, even then, like, there was a time when getting a whole Rock Band kit was on pre-Facebook Marketplace Craigslist for $1. Like people are just getting rid of this stuff, and it was so easy to get. And then 5 years later, you're like, oh shit, I need that.
Yeah.
Oh, it's expensive now. Yep. And it's hard to get.
I used to work at FYE, which for you younger kids used to be a CD store. And
sorry, come again, what store?
FYE, exactly. And we sold video games. We're one of the rare FYEs that sold video games. This is in Tower City in Cleveland. And to your point about the Wii and this crossover appeal is we had Guitar Hero controllers, and the number one Guitar Hero controller that people would ask for whenever they would come and buy stuff was the one for the Wii, because that's what they wanted. When we would get them in, and they would disappear like that because that's what people want. Even now, you go to like, I don't know if they have that around here, but like the Exchange, which is one of those like secondhand places, they always have a Guitar Hero controller. People are always buying them. They're always there. They're always like more than what you would expect to pay for them. One of the things that we wanted to do for our wedding, we got married in our backyard, was we tried to put together a Rock Band set, and that would be like wedding entertainment for people to just like pick up. And
that's such a good idea.
Yeah, we weren't able to make it work, but like for months and months and months up to the lead up, like my husband would go down to the basement and hook up his PlayStation 3, and you can hear him tapping on the drums for Rock Band, because A, it's excellent cardio, and B, it's fun. It still works. It's very hard to find a game like that that's still like you can just put it down in front of anybody and they immediately get it, and it still feels the way that it did 20 years ago.
My Rock Band drum set, still the same one I got in 2007. I have a piece of diamond plated metal cut to the foot pedal, because the foot pedal used to snap in half. So yeah, I got that fixed. And then I put, they sold these sound dampening pads that you'd put on the pads, because it was actually very loud to play it.
Yes.
And so I put those on to make it quiet. And then I still use, at one point, my proudest moments, I caught a drumstick from Questlove from the Roots, and it has like a little signature on it. So I have two drumsticks, but one of them's my little Questlove drumstick. Still my drumstick I use for Rock Band.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's good. It's a good setup. Come hang out.
Questlove, if you're watching, I know you are. Get at us.
We know he's a gamer too.
Hit me up. I'm in Philly, Questlove. We'll hang out.
Love this. So we're basically at the end of the Guitar Hero story now, which is kind of wild. Harmonix went on to make a game called Dance Central, which is a Connect game, because Harmonix can't help itself.
but some part of this is also the physicality that's going on here, right?
Right.
It's the Wii and the physicality of Wii Sports. It's Guitar Hero and the physicality of Guitar Hero, and then Microsoft's like, ooh, physicality.
Connect.
We need some of that. We'll do Connect, and it didn't quite go how they thought. And then they went all in on Xbox One, and that's all she wrote. But yeah, Dance Central. Dance Central, by most accounts too, wasn't my cup of tea, but it did okay, and people liked it. It was, again, critically acclaimed.
Yeah. And then Rock Band lived on a while, got onto some next-gen consoles. Guitar Hero, everybody kind of soured on after a while. I think it became such a like obvious money grab that everybody just kind of gave up. They gave up. Thing I didn't know is the coda to this story is Harmonix got acquired by Epic Games and is now part of Fortnite.
Yes.
Yeah, Fortnite Festival.
Which is actually like a perfect ending that I had no idea had ever happened.
It's kind of like a very good happily ever after, kind of.
Yeah, it kind of
because
is.
that game still lives on.
Yeah.
And you can still play it, and you can still get new controllers that work with your computer and play it.
Can you still buy a guitar for Fortnite Festival?
Yes.
They do exist? Oh,
Yes.
that makes me happy.
Riff Master.
My favorite part of Fortnite Festival is I can now get Sabrina Carpenter to play music in Fortnite Festival, or I can also have her kill fools in Battle Royale, and that's just dope. I got Hakuna Mitsu killing fools. I got Sabrina Carpenter killing fools.
I feel like if you've ever wanted a perfect encapsulation of where games have gone in 20 years, it's that sentence that you just said.
Sabrina Carpenter killing fool.
Yeah.
Sabrina Carpenter shredding and killing fools.
Yeah.
2025.
I got Billie Eilish, Hakuna Mitsu, and Sabrina Carpenter on my squad. We're going to roll out on you.
With Ariana Grande and LeBron James.
Watch out.
First of all, it's a sick Rock Band lineup.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Second of all, it's good stuff. All right, we need to take one more break, and then we're going to come back, and we have the version history questions. All right, we're back. So in every episode, we have 8 questions that we try to answer about every single product that we talk about on the show. The first question is, what was the best thing about the very first Guitar Hero? Chris, what do you think?
I'm going to go ahead and say the thing that was true before Guitar Hero and the thing that was true to some degree after Guitar Hero, which was the game itself, right? Just the rhythm gameplay itself was adaptable. It worked in these different formats. It worked with different instruments. The guitar is the thing that got people to pick it up. But when people played Frequency and Amplitude, they liked them, They just didn't pick them up. And so the guitar got them to pick it up, but the game itself was the best thing there.
Okay.
I like the physicalness of it. I like the different kinds of genres of music, like encapsulates like across like several decades. Like you've got, I don't know, I can't even think of the set list off the top of my head, but just that smattering of different music tracks from different genres, like definitely opened my eyes to the possibilities, and I really appreciate that.
I like it. I'm going to go more niche, which is that I think the real-time audience feedback was amazing and is still like an underrated thing that you don't get enough of in video games anymore. Like
People
when it boos, it feels bad.
Yeah.
It is like genuinely upsetting when you're playing poorly and the crowd starts booing.
I'm just used to people booing at me all the time anyway, so I'm just used to it. Walking down the street, getting booed at.
It's just your day-to-day.
I live in Philly. That's how it goes. It's all right.
All right. Question number 2. What was the worst thing about the first Guitar Hero?
Well, I was going to say the worst thing about Guitar Hero was when Activision came in and bought Red Octane, which I guess technically works.
I guess that's true. That was technically in the life cycle of the first Guitar Hero. All right, I wasn't going to allow it, but I'll allow it.
I'm going to go ahead and say I can't remember 2005 and what it felt like. A time of like limitless opportunity and possibility.
Yeah,
the future was bright and wide open. We probably had a lot of positive feelings about the world. Oh, God, can you imagine?
That was the year I graduated high school. So yeah, that was all that was in my commencement speech. And then 2008 happens and...
Imagine what a commencement speech is like today. Everyone's like, good luck out there. See ya. Bye.
Buy crypto.
So I'm going to go ahead and say the price tag. I think, again, in the limitless pocketbooks of 2005, where we all apparently had money and interest rates were low, I guess. I don't know. But that price tag, I'm sure was an impediment. And for the people who could afford it, could have been less.
Hindsight 2020, I know. But $70 and you got the controller and the game.
I know.
Yeah, but gas was 50 cents or something. I don't know.
No, it's not.
You buy a Coke for a nickel.
Yeah. You scamp, get out of here.
No, that's what's fun. I think both of those things are true, right? In retrospect, it was very expensive, and it was a big swing to be as expensive as it was. But we also look back, and it's like, oh, weren't they adorable for thinking that was expensive?
Quaint.
I know. This is bless their hearts. I think the worst thing, and this is somewhat controversial, and I might get in trouble for saying this, but the music library on the first one was not for me. Especially because, again, this is American Idol watching, recently Puka wearing David Pierce in 2005.
Big AC/DC
This
fan.
was not nearly poppy enough for my taste. This was like the music that I listened to when my friends were in the car because I wanted to impress them.
Aww.
This was not the music that I listened to by myself in the car, which was like, did I know all 5 parts to the NSYNC song Tearing Up My Heart and could sing any of the harmonies on demand? I did, and I could. That's the music
and
I wanted in Guitar Hero.
Ladies and gentlemen, David Pierce.
And I eventually got some of that stuff, right? And I was like, the thing I liked, actually, I think I might have been the only person who liked the like artist-specific ones that came out eventually, because some of those were just sort of closer to my zone. This was just, I wasn't cool enough to like rock music enough to really get into this game.
Have you talked to your therapist about
No,
this?
honestly, that felt really good to say out loud.
Good.
I'm not going to lie to you. I appreciate you guys being here for this.
My claim to fame is at some later point when DLC happened in Rock Band, the theme song for the podcast I used to host, the Joystick Podcast, made its way to the DLC.
That's cool too.
Yeah, RIP Joystick Podcast.
That's a claim to fame right there. I like that. All right, question number 3. Would it have been a bigger hit if Apple made it?
No. Part of the reason why Guitar Hero occupies the space that it does is because it's really grimy. It's not polished. Apple would have over-engineered the hell out of this. It would have gotten like all white, seriously heavy guitars that you could not like lift.
It would have been so expensive.
Yeah,
like
it would have been.
You think $70 is expensive?
Ridiculously expensive.
It would have been one button because we can't have that's too many buttons.
It just says guitar, and you just press the button.
That pared down, stripped down, like funkiness of it, like still works. Like it's good to have like an older game that with all the, you can see the edges of it, and the edges are actually really good.
I totally agree. And especially the first one is like, it's such a weird sort of bizarre game, and like all the names are inside jokes. There's
a human footprint or fingerprint in that game that would have been completely erased if Apple had done it, because nobody human works at Apple. I'm sorry.
All right, next question. What feature of this thing should every current version have?
Oh, okay. So the thing that would go back in time and change about this is I would steer Bobby Kotick away and like tell him to go do more Moneyball stuff and be like a baseball financier instead of getting into video games.
I had a feeling that was going to be the answer. Do you think that there was like a much longer life for something like Guitar Hero otherwise?
Absolutely.
You think? Because my only counter to that would be the like, I already own Guitar Hero, maybe I don't need like maybe there just was a ceiling in the same way that like everybody who's going to buy a Peloton already bought a Peloton and that kind of screwed Peloton. Like,
I think we could have gotten more out of it if we didn't oversaturate the market as fast as we did.
That's probably true.
You know, you've got all these different versions like Beatles Rock Band and like Guitar Hero Aerosmith and, you know, all that kind of stuff. Like, we didn't need all that. Like, give them time to space it out, maybe develop more innovations for their controller or do something. Like, give them time to cook a little bit instead of just, like, serving meal after meal after meal after meal. And then eventually we're full and we can't eat anymore. Yeah, I think time and not saturating the market would have saved this game a little bit and we would have had it for a little bit longer. I don't think it would have maybe become like a Call of Duty kind of deal where, you know, we need one every year or we need one so often. But and it's okay to let video games like die, essentially. Like, we had a good run. I think 5 years was too short for this run.
That's fair. I'll give you that.
I'm going to argue a counterpoint to that, and then I'll give you my reason. But I think that to some degree they had this window, just like the Wii, where a bunch of people bought it. They bought the big controllers, the big drum sets, and there's a limited period of time before they put that on Craigslist or they put it in a garage sale. And so you've got, you know, your Aunt Linda has the whole setup and she liked it 1 year. Like, she's not going to keep it forever. It's not going to go in the basement. And when I break out my set, the number of people who are like, oh man, I used to have that. Like, nobody has it anymore. Everyone got rid of it. Nobody keeps it in the basement. I'm just a sicko. First, if I'm going back in time and I can redo it all, I'm going to buy lotto tickets. I'm gonna bring back a sports book. Gonna just put $1 in the high yield savings account, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So I'm going to do all that first.
Sure, that's good.
Put some money in a Panama account too. Am I Red Octane or Harmonix? Who am I?
Interesting. You're the CEO of Harmonix.
Okay. No, this is a choose your own adventure. This is The Walking Dead. So you have to
you get
a branching path.
Ash is right.
If I'm Red Octane,
dropping you in 2005. You get to choose.
If I'm Red Octane, I buy Harmonix.
Okay.
That was a big boo-boo.
Yeah.
That's a little bit of a mistake.
To split up. Don't split the party.
I buy Harmonix. I make them, not even buy merge, right? Like, just straight up some structure in which that those two things stay together.
Just so make it one thing.
And then in terms of like the saturation, you have a little bit less of a saturation problem with one major product that is sort of excellent instead of two excellent products. If I'm Harmonix, that's a little trickier. I mean, maybe same answer, but I would propose a merger. I would propose some kind of, don't just pay us to do this contract work for hire. Give us a piece of the pudding, and we'll keep doing it with you and see how that works out.
Okay, so you also think that in theory there could have been a bigger, longer Guitar Hero history than we got?
I think that part of that history has to account for having a second marketplace player that was in its own right excellent, making a clearly duplicative product in that sense that there wasn't just one product that was saturating the market, but two. That's pretty hard to unwind.
Okay. And who's to say that, this Harmonix Red Octane merger would continue to make rhythm games as like straight up simulation stuff?
Also true.
We're starting to see now a lot of people incorporate rhythm games into other kinds of games. You got Crypt of the Necrodancer specifically, those kinds of games. We could have seen something like that come out of them much earlier than what we're getting now. And I think giving them the opportunity to have that runway and not just be ground down in the dirt would have been potentially, good for gaming as a whole.
It is an interesting sort of parallel universe in which you have like mainstream interest in rhythm games in the United States and a company with theoretically tons of resources that only cares about making rhythm games. That like it is probably true that is hugely unexplored territory. I mean, I even think about like dumb examples like Supernatural, the fitness game for VR. It's like that game was huge and fun. It was a completely different use of that same mechanic. Like, there's probably a lot of places you could point that thing.
Yeah.
Beat Saber has some of the same make your own song mechanics. There's mods on the PC version. Somebody made an incredible version. You can check it out at home for the Outer Wilds soundtrack and Beat Saber. Oh, it's incredible. But I was thinking about another thing, and just to give Activision some credit here. They did try and, find new parts of that market when the guitar and rock music part of the market died off.
DJ Hero?
DJ Hero.
Oh, okay.
DJ Hero.
You're serious.
I'm serious. No, DJ Hero's great. Freestyle games.
Yeah, you both said that word, but you said it very differently.
She's like, DJ Hero? I'm like, DJ Hero.
DJ Hero.
I got 2 DJ Hero turntables in my office. It's a good game. DJ Hero 2 is good too. The tracks are great. These great mashups. They brought in great DJs. They did, I think, really good work. That game was, again, a critical hit. Did not sell great. And I think there was some attempt to like try and keep that party going, and it didn't quite work out. And then they rebooted it. Freestyle Games again rebooted Guitar Hero Live. It was called, I think, same developer. But
your office must be enormous. You've described so many like 20-year-old peripherals that no one cares about that I'm like, at some point, you just have a 6-story office going on here full of video games.
I got a virtual boy. I got it all. Here's the thing. It's not huge, but it's very dense. I'll give you a tour one day. It's great.
All right, next question. What feature of this thing should every current version have? And I will rephrase this one slightly for Guitar Hero, which is if you could borrow one either piece of the game or mechanic or idea about Guitar Hero and shove it back into mainstream gaming in 2025, what would it be?
Star power.
Ooh.
So we haven't talked about this through this entire podcast, but like part of Guitar Hero, if you've never played it, you can build up like a resource like star power, and then you can deploy it to get like super high scores or whatever. You can also use it to come in and save you when you're failing. So I think modern games could do a lot with, I know there's this whole like thing about get good and, Dark Souls is a game for adults or whatever.
Wrong.
But exactly. And having some kind of mechanic like you are clearly sucking at this. And instead of like getting these pithy, like, would you like to switch to a lower difficulty? Like any of those patronizing messages, like there's something that you can deploy to save you, to make you better, or to get you through like this difficult part.
So it's like you're bad, but you did one sick thing, so you're back.
Yeah, exactly.
I love that.
Yeah.
That's the dream. That's life. You just do one sick thing, we're so back.
I'm waiting. Hasn't hit me yet. Any day now it'll happen.
Also, star power, the fact that you could do it by tilting up the guitar
is so cool.
Very cool. Very well played. Chris, what do you think?
This is tricky, but I think the thing for me that was really transformative about it, again, something about the timeline with YouTube. And I think there's still something here with live streaming and games and watching people beat Dark Souls bosses using Guitar Hero controllers and all this stuff. The idea of performance, that the video game itself is performance, the tools that you use to play it are performance. And I think a lot about an essay that we published on Polygon and about Spelunky and live streaming and how Spelunky's challenges were only solved by a community playing in parallel with each other, that they could only sort of understand the complexity of the game by building upon what other people had already done. And so this idea of like games that exist and augmented by distribution channels that are not the game, YouTube or Twitch or whatever, and the physicality of it, that sense that you can see, actually tell when somebody's better, and that you can share that, and that is not the game. It is this different asset, this different thing, and in a world where everything's connected through streaming and channels and distribution mechanics, it's strange to me that more games don't specifically build themselves to travel that way. So that would be my thought.
I like that. Mine is just physical controllers. I just want more game-specific
No, you don't.
items to hold.
You say that,
I don't
but
want
you
that
really
many.
don't. You really don't.
My only reason for thinking that I do is playing Mario Kart with the actual wheel.
Yeah, no,
you're right. Is a delight. It is a delight. I don't know how far this idea goes. It's possible it goes right to there and nowhere else. And I also understand that what I'm asking is for a lot of expensive things that I want.
I have this illness. I have the Taito Drum Master set for Switch. I have
The Office just keeps getting bigger and bigger.
I know. I'm sorry. To my partner who's not listening to this at all. I'm sorry. I've got the maracas up there from Samba de Amigo. I've got all the dumb shit. If they make a dumb thing that hooks up to a video game, I'm like, well, I guess I have to have it.
Yeah.
I can't not have it.
I'm down. Just reboot Duck Hunt in 2025 and I will buy the thing again. I'm just saying. All right, next question. Is there an alternate timeline in which this thing was more or even more successful? And I think, I suspect the answer is the alternate timeline of these companies do not get acquired and
they acquire each
out.
other and get to have that longer life, hopefully. I would have just really liked to have seen them iterate on the idea of applying rhythm game fundamentals to different kinds of games. I think that's a really fun thing that we're doing now, and I wish we had more of that.
Yeah.
So game developers, please, like, incorporate rhythm stuff into your games, because that's how you get me.
I like it. Chris, anything else?
I don't know. I think that the time it launched was really unique. Maybe a couple years earlier, it wouldn't have had the same opportunity. A couple years later, it wouldn't have.
Too. Yeah.
It launched on the PlayStation 2, and it launched at the tail end, right? Again, new console generation coming out. So it launched on a console that had a higher install base than any home console ever made before. And it just had a lot of things going for it. It really was like a little bit of, the right people, the right place, the right time, and then a little bit of serendipity and cosmic kismet there. I can think of a lot of ways it would have gone worse, right? Like the size of that hit is hard to imagine. It's hard to replicate, and it really hasn't happened again in that way. So I kind of am going to say that, maybe again, short of these counterfactuals of mergers, et cetera, that didn't happen, I think they really nailed it. They did 100% expert play on hard mode using their feet.
They definitely had that vision and they executed on it. We want to make non-musicians feel like a musician and feel like a rock star. And they nailed that really
They
good.
really did.
And it's really hard and really rare to have like such a clear vision executed so perfectly.
Yeah. Yeah. Which brings me to the next question.
Especially in video games.
Could you reboot it now? Could we bring back Guitar Hero in 2025 and would it work?
We do that. Like, that thing exists. That's what Fortnite Festival is. It hasn't like...
Does that count? Like, I genuinely, like, I guess the pro case for that would be that Fortnite is so huge that something inside of Fortnite is sufficiently huge to work. But I feel like a feature of Fortnite is just never going to be the thing that Guitar Hero was.
I think if you think about Fortnite, and I'm going to channel my Tim Sweeney for you here.
Okay,
death to Apple, death to Google, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But Fortnite is a platform at this point. So if Fortnite's a platform, if Roblox is a platform, and if you think of it more as a platform, and what they're trying to do is incubate different games inside of this platform, there is Battle Royale, and that's our shorthand for what Fortnite is. But I think what Epic would really want you to believe is that Rocket Racing is a part of that platform, and that Fortnite Festival is. It's not reflected in the player counts, which are still playing Battle Royale.
Sure.
But I think there's a world in which, like, are they on to something? Is there some future there? Is music and culture a part of Battle Royale? It is. And so how do you actually get the music and culture part out in gameplay that isn't about shooting people? That's where Festival comes in. Have they nailed it? I think you could probably make a strong case they have not nailed it. But I do think there is something there. I also think, and Ash, you could tell us about Clone Hero, like the community taking on games like this and making some of this themselves in a way that is not tied up with the vagaries of music licensing and the distribution platforms and channels. We have the music. We have our Spotify accounts. Like, how do you just like hook up a guitar controller and play?
And I think that's what's so cool about video games in general is that when the corporations step out, the community step in. And the community for Guitar Hero has stepped up in a big way where you have Clone Hero, which is this game that you can download for free. You can get all kinds of tracks for it, like tons of tracks. You can make your own tracks for it. It plays on your computer. It will work with any kind of, controller as long as you have an adapter and hook it up to your computer. And one of the things that I really like to do is I follow, music creators and music game creators and watch them like do these super hard, like this is not musical at all. It just exists to be as difficult as possible. And just watching them do that, it's just fun. It's fun. I downloaded Clone Hero 2 for myself because there was a moment like a couple years ago. I think this was like on the tail end of like social distancing where we're all in lockdown. Like, okay, I'm going to make Clone Hero my thing like I tried to do with Guitar Hero and just play it. And I don't have to worry about like, I don't know, DLC or getting my PlayStation 3 to work or anything like that. It's just there on my computer. And I did that for a little bit. And my husband will tell you like every day for like, a couple of weeks, I would go and I would play the same like 6 songs over and over, trying to like relearn that muscle memory. And it was good for a bit.
What I've realized after playing this game today was that like I kind of don't want a 2025 version of Guitar Hero. I just want like that Guitar Hero again, or I guess like a Guitar Hero with the songs that I like more. But it did make me realize like I don't know that I want more from this game. I just kind of want the game back in my life again. I don't know if I am going to be one of those people who forever regrets selling it on Craigslist, but playing it again, I kind of regret selling it on Craigslist.
What if it was an NSYNC edition?
I would never have sold it on Craigslist.
For me, one of the appeals of retro games especially, and it gets complicated with 360, and if you bought games, you have to like restore your licenses to stuff. It's like a little janky, but when you go back to a PS2 and earlier, like the complexity of even just talking about Fortnite as a platform, like the simplicity of playing a game that just exists. You have it physically, it's on the disc, you hook it up to a TV, and it works.
It is kind of wild in 2025 to have that experience where you're like, I plugged the thing and I haven't used it in a long time.
And it works.
Right. I don't have to update it. I don't have to download new things. I don't have to pay a subscription. I don't have to like remember a password. I just turn on the damn game and it plays.
So
Okay, we're all old.
Right?
We are all old.
My
I'm
caveat
sorry.
on that is two things. One,
Kids don't know.
Sometimes it doesn't work because you got the input latency problem. You have some other challenges.
Fair.
Two, I brought my PlayStation Slim here to Slim because my PS2 Fat, the disk drive doesn't work. It's temperamental. It works sometimes. It was not going to work if I brought it on the train and
blow
bumped
on
it the
put
whole
back
way.
in. Yeah.
So like those old consoles oftentimes just need a lot of attention.
Yeah.
They will not last forever without maintenance and support. And the folks who do that maintenance and support, God bless you if you're out there. It's not easy to find these folks. And so the internet community, to Ash's point, takes over and starts to support this stuff. But we do have a video game preservation problem. You can't go to your library and get this stuff easily to play an old game. It really is hard to access, which is sad. And so I think that, part of my enthusiasm for having a home office full of this bullshit, can I say bullshit on the podcast? Is that I know I can't just go get it somewhere else if I don't keep it.
Yeah, I like that. So, all right, last version history question. Does Guitar Hero belong in the version history Hall of Fame? The rules for the Hall of Fame still in flux, but I would say the general rubric was this thing at least unusually important in the history of technology? Like, did this matter in some meaningful, specific way? And it has to, it doesn't even have to be good. It just has to matter. Does this thing matter enough to belong in the Hall of Fame?
Yeah, there's only going to be so many games that have this real confluence of like hardware, software, culture, big moments, events, mergers, like all those things that are part of the tech industry, that are part of that sort of, amplified growth. It hits that in a way that breaks out of the normal niches of just video games and sort of transcends to some other larger cultural context. But it's also frivolous and silly, and it doesn't matter, and it is just fun, and it didn't change the world in that same way. It's not an iPhone or whatever.
It is a tricky one. It was so big and it burned so bright, and then it died.
And that's like what I would find like beautiful about it, right?
Yeah.
Like that's
Yeah.
the beauty. It doesn't have to be transformative in that other way. It just has to have been like fun and pleasant and I don't know, like well-intentioned.
Yeah. I'm inclined to put it in just because I think it has like a damn near 100% approval rating as a thing, and I don't think there are that many things like that. And I think it gets in for that reason.
Yeah, I'm
Good.
into it.
All right, so
It's
we have
official.
this controller behind us. We're gonna like hang it in the rafters or something until it all comes crashing down. All right, that is it for the show. Ash and Chris, thank you. This was so much fun.
Yes, it was
Appreciate
fun.
you guys doing this with me.
I appreciate the invite.
As always, you can watch all of our episodes on YouTube. You can listen to them wherever you get podcasts. And if you want to support all of this and everything, the best thing you can do is subscribe to The Verge, theverge.com. It's a good website. We have journalism and websites and newsletters and podcasts like this one. Thank you for being here. We'll see you next time.